This program was pre-recorded.
You've entered the Fletch Nation with Roy Fletcher, political analyst and socio-political prophet, and Kevin Gallagher, TV and podcast host, and opinionated Jack Hole. So settle in, grab a beverage. It's time to talk some politics. It's Fletch Nation. Now here are the boys.
The boys.
We are again, the boys. The boys.
The boys.
We're on
Kevin?
a mission from God.
Say that again.
We're on a mission from God.
God.
Hey, welcome back to
John Bellucci.
Glad to have you with us once again as we come at you. As we record this, it is Wednesday the 17th.
Your guess as good as mine, Kevin.
Yep, Wednesday the 17th of August, and we are at the fabulous old school barbecue at 16550 Corsi Boulevard. And we invite you to come on by and enjoy some barbecue. It's good stuff.
Kevin, a lot to talk about, huh? Let's just jump right in.
Has there been any word yet on the judge's decision in Florida?
No, we'll get to that in a minute. We're waiting on a judge decision sometime today. I think they were arguing it today. Certainly, I'm sure he'll make a decision about the affidavit as it relates to the search warrant, so that we can get some background information now as to what led to the search, what the probable cause was, etc. That way, of course, we're talking about Mar-a-Lago and Donald Trump. I don't want to start there. I want to start in Wyoming.
Let's start in Wyoming.
Last night, wasn't that lovely? There was a pretty picture there last night when Liz Cheney decided to concede after about 18 seconds.
She lost, was it 100 or more points that she lost by? I mean, she lost.
She lost by about 30 points. About 30 points.
Just lose.
No, she got clobbered.
Horribly beaten.
She got clobbered like an animal, and that was expected. I don't think the amount was expected, but I mean it was 30 points or better. And then, but the story out of it was interesting because the press has really worked very hard today to make that not Liz Cheney got clobbered, but Liz Cheney announced for president last night, basically.
Really?
Yeah. That's what.
Okay. Is that on the level? How tone deaf is this woman?
Completely and totally tone deaf, Kevin. She's as bad as I am.
It's like, lady, they don't like you.
No. Well, at least her theory is they don't like her in Wyoming, but they like her in America. Okay. Last night, so she made her concession, got on the airplane, flew to her home in Virginia.
Okay.
All right. You get the story.
Flew to her home in Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, you get the story.
The state where she was running for.
So yeah, but she was rejected last night because of the fact that she spent her time worried about Donald Trump instead of Wyoming. Mm-hmm. And that's what got her beat.
You can only get away with that kind of stuff for so long.
So long, and she was, once she did it, she knew it was over with it. And interestingly enough, last night in Alaska, when Miss Sarah Palin advanced, I don't know if Sarah Palin is going to win that race in Alaska for the House seat, but Alaska has an odd system for voting. Mm-hmm. It's called choice. I forget the ranked choice, and it's kind of goofy, but
kind of goofy.
Yeah, very goofy. But the fact is, Palin has advanced now, and I think that in Alaska there are 4 people in a runoff, not 2. It's a crazy system.
How do you have 4 people in a runoff?
Don't ask me all that, Kevin. I don't know. But it's a very odd system, and there are people who think that's the wave of the future for American elections. I happen to think the wave of the future in America is not that kind of but the Louisiana open election system. I think that is the wave of the future in America, and it's been adopted now by California. Jerry Brown got it adopted out there, I believe, and it was because he and Edwin Edwards were friends, and he thought it was a good system. And I think the state of Washington now has the open election system. But I think that's the wave of the future in the United States. We do elections well here, very well. We learn from our mistakes. We learn from our history, and Louisiana, I think, leads the nation.
Do we learn from our mistakes though?
Here.
Because I worry that we're going to see a repeat of the 2020 election.
Well, I don't know, but in Louisiana, our problems was vote buying, and ringing the bell, and then hauling people, and that was contributed to vote buying. And frankly, we have very stringent state laws now that keep that kind of action from happening. We have a good system in Louisiana. It's very well regulated, etc. So anyway, Liz Cheney lost, Sarah Palin advanced. Lisa Murkowski also advanced as well in the United States Senate race in Alaska. Now, I forget how many voted against Trump for impeachment, Republicans, but I think there's 2 left.
Yeah.
I think there was 14 that voted, I believe, and don't hold me to this, and I think there's 2 left. And in the state of Washington last week, I think it was last week, we were talking about a guy up there that was still behind, but he might win. Well, he ended up winning after they got all the votes counted. And he's a former Army. He was in, I believe, in Iran. And I forget his name now. And his wife was killed in Iran. She was in the military as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so a real story there. For the state of Washington, and his name Jamie, I believe, but I can't remember his last name. Anyway, so we're waiting on the affidavit to see if we get the affidavit. Why is that important? Well, it's important because the big story remains the Trump raid/search at Mar-a-Lago, and what the hell is going on. Well, we know a couple of things that's going on right now. It appears that the CFO of Trump's company in the state of New York, there are three locus of interest going on about Donald Trump. 3 grand juries. Let's just call it what it is. New York, Atlanta, and Washington, D.C. And in New York, the CFO of the Trump Corporation appears to be negotiating a plea bargain deal with the prosecutors up there. In other words, he'll plead to accepting certain gratuities that he didn't report as income tax, and did so in a consistent manner for a long time, and so he's obviously going to be in trouble. The Trump Corporation will be drug into it and probably found guilty for not making him pay his taxes too as well. Okay, so or paying taxes on those gratuities.
They need to be able to attach guilty to his name for something.
Something, yeah. Well, it'll be the Trump Corporation. It won't be him. So, but when we come back, I'm going to go to Atlanta, and then we're going to go to Washington, D.C.
Okay, Fletch Nation, be right back. Stay right there.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
At the Team Automotive Group, we're offering you the Team Guarantee on new and used vehicles. Included with every new vehicle is a lifetime limited powertrain warranty. And now, get a 90-day warranty on the purchase of a pre-owned vehicle. Get the Team Guarantee at every location of the Team Automotive Group.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Caught spiders.
Premier Pest Services.
And we're back. It's Fletch Nation. So glad to have you with us as we're seen on television stations and 5 different cable systems covering roughly a little under a half of just about, well, almost all of South Louisiana. And
plus our radios.
And 9 radio affiliates across the state.
We're practically a conglomerate that don't make money.
So let's talk about Donald Trump for a minute here. I have been listening to, I don't know if you listen to him, but I like to listen to Clay Travis and Buck Sexton.
Yeah, I know you do.
The heirs apparent to Rush Limbaugh.
Yes.
And
that would be Tucker Carlson, but go ahead.
Clay Travis feels there's going to be an indictment of some kind. He just feels like Garland wouldn't have done this if he didn't plan an indictment.
Absolutely. I'll say that up front. Tucker Carlson has said it as well. But it's clear that we're headed to an indictment of the former president. The question is where, and neither of the locations, or either of the locations, are a good place for him to be indicted. I don't think that he can get a fair trial in Washington, D.C. I don't think he can get a fair trial. It wouldn't be Miami. I don't think he can get a fair trial in Fulton County, Georgia, either.
No.
I don't think that he can get a jury of his peers.
No, these are all liberal bastards.
It's not going to be a fair trial, and it'll be a federal trial. I'm sure there's going to be some real arguments over venue, so on and so forth, before this thing is over with. But yes, I think he's going to be indicted. There's a terrific article in the Federalist by Margot Cleveland. The Federalist is a periodical, daily, and she compares the Crossfire Hurricane, the operation, and all of that. That was the Russiagate, the Spygate.
Yep.
To what's going on now. And she makes some very cogent and valid points, and I wanted to use her article sort of as a way to talk about what we're looking at, folks. Washington, D.C., understand that raid, from everything we know now, and we don't know everything, and that's why we want to see the warrant, we want to see the underlying documents, of which the federal government and the Department of Justice is fighting to stop. They say it would chill other witnesses and other people who are cooperating with them. And that is absolutely correct. That's a valid point of law. On the other hand, it's not a very valid point of public relations. But it tells you that they're interested in the law, which means they're interested in an indictment. Be that as it may. That's my interpretation of it. But she makes some valid points about it, and that is that in both instances, the notion of classified information, classified materials, was a narrative. And in Trump's situation, it was classified, and it was even nuclear codes. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's changed.
It's changed to what?
Well, I'm gonna go through that. I'm gonna go through that in a minute. And in the situation with Operation Hurricane Crossfire Hurricane, he was a Russian collaborator.
Yeah.
He was a Russian stooge. He was a Putin stooge. It was all about, oh my God, he's giving away classified information. The nation's in trouble. Okay, both of them are. Secondly, they were both They profoundly leak stories. Mm-hmm. Okay, of leaked stories of people in the DOJ and the FBI that we don't even know who they were because their names were never used. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's no question about it. There was always suspicious names in both of these, the same names. Stephen D'Antuono. Stephen D'Antuono. They don't know that name, do you, Kevin?
No.
He ran the Michigan operation for the FBI, where the rogues were in there engaged in an entrapment operation. He ran the raid at Mar-a-Lago because he got transferred from Detroit to Washington, D.C. Got promoted after the Michigan operation, where 2 of the people have already been acquitted and 2 had a mistrial.
So he's a go-to guy.
And they clearly showed in the trial that the entrapment was the defense.
So he's a go-to guy if you've got a shady operation.
Yeah, it looks like it. Well, guess what else he's running? The investigation for January 6th.
Wow.
Get to know that name, folks. By the way, this notion of people saying that these people that are out here suggesting violence against law enforcement, FBI agents, and so on, stop it. That's so bad and so rotten. I can't deal with that. That is just awful. Stop it. That's all we can say, because it's stupid. Because most the rank and file FBI agent is no more involved in this than anybody. It's up at the top. But anyway, so the suspicious names that continue to show up. Well, one of them is in particularly important. Adam Schiff. Mm-hmm. Remember, he lied about the affidavits and the FISA applications. Mm-hmm. He absolutely lied. He said he saw him and said Carter Page is a bad dude, and he lied about it. And by the way, those things were completely flawed. Finally, the government had to give up on the notion of probable cause and all of that. Mm-hmm. And by the way, it took years for us to ever see that, because the government wants to conceal it. The same thing that's happening now with respect to what? With respect to this search warrant affidavit in Miami. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the government does not want to be transparent about stuff. Anyway, the suspicious names, they always tell people in the middle of this, don't question the authority. I just said anybody that's suggesting violence against law enforcement ought to have their ass put in jail, or that do it.
I agree.
But the point is that it is fair to question. It is fair to question process, procedures.
That's supposed to be
intent.
what America's about.
Yes, it's fair to do all of that. You can question all of that. Process and procedures and intent, and what are they up to, and what's the political nature of this. That's fair. They change narratives constantly, the government does, in both of these things. In this thing, it has gone from we were trying to get nuclear codes, then which classified documents. Then they said the video that Trump had might be showing that he was moving documents out of this room that had 2 double locks on it. Okay, just crazy stuff. Then they went, oh, well, we got us a human resource. Oh, yeah, we had a human resource in Russiagate, too. You remember Peter Strzok and Lisa Page?
Yes.
Yeah, all of that mess. And then And then they said, oh, well, the attorney for Trump lied when he signed that said that there's no classified documents. The same kind of stuff they did with his attorneys in Russiagate as well. So
the thing that bothers me the most about the Mar-a-Lago raid, it was a completely unsupervised raid. And usually at the very least, the subject's attorney is allowed to be there when they're carrying out a search warrant.
The good news was that they kept the videos on. Mm-hmm. That's the good news. They told them.
And that's how we know that they were like sniffing the former First Lady's underpants. And
we got to take a break, but I want to come back and finish this because I think it's important that people kind of have the contrast.
Mm-hmm. Fletch Nation returns in just a moment. Stay there.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
The Mazda CX-50. Confident on and off-road performance and intelligently designed utility inside and out.
The all-new Mazda CX-50 has arrived and is on sale right now at Team Mazda on Airline.
Hi, gang. Clarence Buggs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Buggs Show.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Roy, do you mind if I pose you some questions about this whole Mar-a-Lago Trump thing?
Yeah.
My first question, sometimes when I ask Roy questions, I'm imagining it may be what you out there may be thinking. First of all, why would any former president, what would be the motivation for a former president upon leaving the White House to box up nuclear secrets and take them home?
We don't know, and that's a real question. What was the intent of what he was doing? In one way, is a good question. So that injects the whole notion of what is this about? Is it about presidential records? Well, in the Presidential Records Act, there's a provision that says if someone's found guilty of mishandling these things, guess what happens to them? They can't run for president or public office. So you might want to take a peek at that little provision.
And I think that's the end game right there.
Well, I think it is too. I used to not. When it started, I think it was much bigger than that. But no, this is not about that. I think it is about presidential records. Look, the archivists got about 15 boxes up from Trump in January. And at the same time, they were negotiating with Trump to get more. And they got that, and so on and so forth. Well, guess who put the DOJ on the records? It wasn't. It was the National Archivist.
Mm-hmm.
That's who went and told the DOJ he's not giving us back all the records. Then they had this lawyer in February, I think, sign a document that said there wasn't any records, classified records there. Now they've leaked that sort of as another reason for getting them. So this is the easiest route, the presidential records route is, apparently, because apparently he had it. Now, what they did in February when they were negotiating to get the records, two of the top lawyers in the White House, Pat Siplett, I can't say his name, and Pat Pilbeam, both of them White House lawyers.
A couple of Pats.
Yeah, they were questioned by the FBI and apparently by the grand jury as to what was the motivation, or how did they handle the records, so on and so forth. They're also calling other people that deal with this records, how they handled the records management. And clearly what they're trying to do is to show that he took the records with the intent to keep them, that he knew what he was doing, and that he didn't declassify. Okay? On the other hand, the Trump argument has been, it seems to me, coming from Kash Patel, is that he did declassify almost everything he touched. And so therefore, those records have already been declassified.
Yeah, I heard Patel say that on the radio the other day.
But the problem is where's the proof? That's the problem. Kash Patel says that he just did it, but the argument is, well, there's a process for doing it. Well, it's not really a process for doing it. The president can do it that way. The problem becomes, well, if he did it that way, who said he did it that way? What do the witnesses say about it? Is that true? And if it's, you don't have clear and convincing evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, you can get convicted. And that's what they're thinking about.
Trump will almost certainly say they planted evidence. How is anyone to prove they did not? Or that they did?
The tapes will be able to tell us whether or not they planted evidence. So
he had surveillance cameras inside his house.
Yeah, and that was the importance of that. Now, that's been one of Trump's other arguments. He's got a running narrative, too. His narrative changes as well. You know, you remember in Russiagate, it was constantly a change in narrative in Russiagate.
Yes.
As we got more and more information, DOJ and FBI had to back it down. They had to deny it in the beginning. They would say, well, wait a minute, these FISA applications for Carter Page, we want to see them because we hear they're flawed. Oh, no, they're not flawed. No, we did it properly. And then when you find out it was flawed, they go, well, that was a
clerical error.
Yeah, something. It was not. It's the same here. And until we see this stuff, we're not going to know what's happening as it relates to any of this and what the defense is, etc. Now, that's one situation. The situation in Georgia is totally different because that is about meddling with the, they call them something, electors.
Electors.
Yeah, but they got a name for them, rogue electors, I'll call it. And that Trump and Rudy Giuliani and all of them were down there promoting this thing where the governor and the secretary of state would either find the votes or do these rogue electors, the Trump elector. But the process for challenging, at least in case of Hawaii in 1960, was a rogue set of an alternative set of electors, and that's what they really are, were brought to Washington and in order in order to make the cast a vote. And finally, the courts decided, no, it's this set of electors that goes. Now, there are distinguishing things about Hawaii versus now, but the notion of alternative electors, I don't think is criminal. The question is, what did they do to get those roads? What was going on down? And that's what that district attorney in Fulton County is looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean that could be a serious indictment on somebody. Like it looks like they have their eye on Rudy Giuliani, who was down there and messing around a lot. I don't know what that deal is, but we'll find out shortly. Because I think she's going to make a decision. She is the DA. I think she'll make a decision to indict Giuliani pretty soon. And after she hears from him in the grand jury and Lindsey Graham and a couple other people, I think she's going to indict Giuliani.
Wow.
And Giuliani has had several of his people have had their homes broken into by the FBI, raided, so on and so forth, and for other situations. But they've been under a lot of pressure. A lot of people have had search warrants and raids, whatever you want to call it, instituted against them that worked for Trump, including his lawyers. And that was another thing that,
especially his lawyers.
Especially his
You can even call it persecution, in my opinion.
You certainly can call it a violation of certain constitutional provisions, but his lawyers, even attorney-client privilege, has been breached by the FBI. Now they could, if they thought it was a crime. We'll be back in a moment, and stick with us.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, and we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at Old School prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Fruget Jr., and I am a general dentist at Fruget Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
At the Team Automotive Group, we're offering you the Team Guarantee on new and used vehicles. Included with every new vehicle is a lifetime limited powertrain warranty. And now, get a 90-day warranty on the purchase of a pre-owned vehicle. Get the Team Guarantee at every location of the Team Automotive Group.
Caught spiders? advanced services.
We're back in Fletch Nation, and Roy, there is one in Louisiana matter that I wanted to get your take on, and that's this ongoing battle going on in Shreveport. The incumbent mayor of Shreveport, just to bring you all up to speed, the incumbent mayor of Shreveport, a young fellow by the name of Adrian Perkins, is running or wants to run for a second term in office, but I want to say his name was Deal, Francis Deal, but anyway, a citizen had gotten an eye on his qualification papers.
Yes.
And he challenged his being qualified to run for office, and a judge in Shreveport looked at the evidence and said, yeah, you're disqualified.
You got it wrong.
And the main basis is that he supplied an address on his qualification papers that was not his actual domicile.
No, that he was taking homestead exemption of.
Right.
Yep.
And so he was disqualified. And of course, Mr. Perkins appeals that, takes it to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, and they, in rather short order, upheld the lower judges.
They dismissed his
candidacy. They dismissed the appeal, and they said, nope, you're still disqualified. So yesterday, the state Supreme Court heard arguments for and against the disqualification of Adrian Perkins, and it was some compelling argument. But as far as I know, as of the taping of this program, I haven't heard a decision on that case yet.
I haven't either, but
no doubt by the time you see this, there will be something known about it.
But you did note that in the arguments, a lawyer against Perkins, Jerry Harper.
Jerry Harper is the lawyer for the plaintiff.
Is an old high school classmate of mine.
Is he really?
Yeah. Went to Harvard, and then he came back and went to LSU. He was a very good lawyer. Jerry raised the point that he got, what, 6 out of 10 wrong?
He raised the point. He first prefaced it with running down Adrian Perkins' rather extensive Ivy League education.
Yes.
I mean, he's a well-educated man.
Yes.
But yet a 10-question...
He attended well-educated schools.
A 10-question questionnaire or interview paper for qualification, and he got 6 of 10 answers wrong on his own qualification
Look,
papers.
Kevin, one is that if we think it was a citizen that bought this, we're all smoking dope. It was opposition. Look, it's just the nature.
Certainly.
It's the nature of politics. Okay, that's number one. But number two is that this incompetency with this document is suggestive, strongly suggestive that perhaps he wasn't exactly a competent mayor. And that's the argument against him. Mm-hmm. That's been the argument against him, and he's proven that argument to be pretty. How would I say? He gives credibility to that argument with the filing of the answers to this qualification paper. I don't think the Supreme Court's going to let him run. To be honest with you, I really don't. I think they're going to disqualify.
Well, it does seem to me to be, for someone that's got his educational background and his bona fides, that's a really bonehead error to make.
It's totally bonehead.
His lawyer, whose name escapes me right now, but his lawyer argued that it was just a little clerical error and should not be any reason why it should keep him from running for office.
It's just a problem. It's just a small little thing. You know, kind of like these affidavits and warrants and all, just a FISA application.
Oh, Shaw, you don't need to be worried about that.
You don't need to worry about that. I mean, so they got that wrong about when he was there by a year, 2, 3, 4, whatever the case may be. That's at least a little intrigue at the state level, right? Mm-hmm. Speaking of states, we could talk about the state of Texas and the border. It was released this week that there have been you get this, this is unbelievable. There have been 1.82 million, I said million, arrests on the southern border of the United States in this fiscal year that does not end until September 30th.
Mm-hmm. So that means it will top 2 million.
1.82 million. Yes, it'll top 2 million. That's arrest. That's not people getting in.
Yeah.
That's arrest.
Now imagine all the folks that got in that didn't get arrested.
And we have an administration that explains to us that there is no border problem. Well, I guess if it's open, There is no border problem, except for one problem. There's laws against that. But given the fact that
we pick and choose what to enforce.
Well, that's right. The rule of law is not that important, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So the other thing is,
unless it's a Republican.
Exactly. Then the letter of the law.
It's a massively important thing.
The other thing about the border situation is so many of these illegal immigrants are being sent to cities. Well, New York City is a great example.
Oh, the sanctuary cities.
They're putting these people up in hotel rooms at taxpayer expense, and we're talking about $400 a night hotel rooms.
Yeah, they got a nice life. But those are sanctuary cities.
Oh, yeah.
Chicago, New York. And guess what's happening? You've seen it on TV, folks. They're complaining. Oh, my God, this is political. They can't do this. No, they can do it in Texas. They can do it in Arizona. They can do it in New Mexico. But by God, don't be bringing that to New York.
Yeah.
Don't be bringing that to New Jersey. Don't be bringing that, huh?
When Greg Abbott started shipping them to New York, then people started to get upset.
It got their attention, didn't it?
Yeah.
And they haven't shipped but about 7,000, but it still got their attention. Turn to the state of Florida. There's some disturbing things going on in Florida. In a recent poll by the University of North Florida, which I don't think I believe this poll, but I'm going to give it some credence. Rubio in the U.S. Senate race over there is down 4 to Val Demings, the Democrat. Now DeSantis is up 8 or 10 on either Democratic opponent, but Rubio may have a problem in the state of Florida, and I don't know that. And it brings the whole thing now. I'm going to take the last 2 minutes to talk about politics. What has all of this done to the political environment that we're living in right now? All of this stuff with Trump. Well, what's happened is that the generic ballot has closed to 2 or 3. Republicans still ahead, but not by much. It's closed because Donald Trump has become an issue. And Joe Biden hasn't. If Trump's the issue, Biden is not. Okay? It's just the way it is. And the Republicans have a really difficult chore now. They have to get this message back. They have to get back control of this message, and they have to make the point about inflation and so on and so forth that they need to make, and the border and so on and so forth. And crime. But that is what has happened, is that this mess with Trump has sort of changed the narrative. It gives the press the opportunity to talk about Trump rather than Biden. And that's what's going on right now. And it's closing these races. It's closing them quickly. We're watching Republican primaries. But the Republican primary don't mean anything if the Republican don't win in the fall.
That's right.
Okay? The Republican primary is useless unless the Republican wins in the fall. The Democratic primary is useless unless the Democrat wins in the fall. Winning in the fall is what matters in November. And this Trump thing has created a situation where it's harder for the Republicans to get their message through. They're going to have to.
Once again, it's time for us to take a quick break. We're going to take care of a little business. When we come back, another conversation with Coastal Attorney John Carmouche, and then we'll wrap all the things up with a nice little bow, as Clarence Bugg said, and put a wrap on this week's edition of Fletch Nation.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreysstoneCountryClub.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With private healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
And we're back with Fletch Nation. And yeah, Mike, I need you to just, there you go. Just a little bit. Thank you very much. This has been a fun show. It is time for our weekly conversation with attorney John Carmouche.
Yep, and I think it's worth listening to this because the Inflation Reduction Act, what a malarkey that is, it's going to have a real impact on Louisiana energy and Louisiana's environment. So let's go to John now.
Take it away.
Well, welcome back. We're with John Carmouche, a well-known coastal and environmental lawyer in Louisiana, a land lawyer. And we've been talking about sort of your past and your education and what sort of brought you to the fight for the coast of Louisiana. There's bigger issues, though, it seems, John. There's a new poll out by the New York Times over the weekend, the Siena poll, Siena College poll, that had 13% of the country in a good mood about the direction of the United States. What do you think about the direction of our country?
I think it's going in the wrong way. I mean, it's too divided, Roy. Too much politics. I grew up in a political family, but also grew up believing in the real world. And I think we've lost the touch of actually working together and putting politics aside. You can have your views, and I believe in strong conservative views myself as a Republican, but I also believe in a real world working together. I give the example that, we show up at work every day. There's so many businesses in Louisiana that are huge and making a large difference in Louisiana. They show up to work every day to work together as a business. They don't show up every day to say, are you a Republican, Democrat, Independent? They show up every day, they work together, and they accomplish huge things in Louisiana. But it just seems like as soon as you turn on the political TV,
when you walk in the state capitol,
it's politics. And everybody forgets that Louisiana needs to be run like a business. And to do that, you have to work together. And I think we've lost that in this state.
I can't think of a way to get it back either. But the fact is that the point that you're making is that it's a necessity.
It's an absolute necessity. This state needs to turn in the direction of working together as a business to bring businesses here and to grow the economy and bring our kids back.
Well, you bring up the economy. I mean, what do you think of the general direction of Louisiana and our economy in Louisiana is right now?
It's terrible. I mean, we're in the 21st century and we're running this state like it's 1950. It's time to change. It's time to be pro-business. It's time to bring our kids back and make them want to come back. And right now, we need dramatic change on education. We need a dramatic change on how we deal with businesses. We need to bring the oil industry back. I mean, everybody says I'm against the oil industry. I'm not against the oil industry.
We talked about that last week. I mean, you're quite the opposite, correct?
I am the opposite because I believe in if we zero out the liability, we can bring back.
You mean the sort of the coastal liability?
Clear the coastal liability, clean up this state, and make them want to come back. And we can bring the oil industry back. We have to make the dramatic change in this state that we've needed for a long, long time, and not just because of the oil industry.
That's one of the things that you have talked about that's so different, and that is, for right now, for the Biden administration has taken the position that the 5-year plan on offshore drilling, they're just not even going to bring it up anymore. They're not going to discuss it. On the other hand, you've taken the position if you clean up the coast and the liability gets cleaned up, then what you want is an industry that can drill and manufacture and produce, and the liability be gone.
Not only the liability be gone, but there are great operators in the state of Louisiana today. And there are great operators that want to come here in Louisiana.
In the oil and gas industry.
In the oil and gas industry. Yeah. And get our industry and our people back to work and do it the right way.
Yeah.
And that's the key, is do it the right way, bring them back, grow the economy with zero liability, and let's move on.
One of the things that has been discussed in the last couple of weeks, Governor Ducey of Arizona has passed what they call the most Education Freedom Choice Act in the country, where basically the money follows the student rather than going to the county or the school board or what. It follows the student. Wherever the student goes, whatever school the student decides to go to, the money follows. When you say dramatic change from Louisiana in education, that would be something that you'd want to look at, I would assume, huh?
Definitely. I mean, I have to study it, but my position on education is we have to get our kids to want to stay here. And our education, it needs a dramatic change in how we educate our kids, because our kids have to want to be educated. You can't make and force these kids to do something they don't want to do. So there's a lot of things that look at trade schools and getting these kids to be educated on the jobs we have for them in Louisiana. And
market sensitive.
Market sensitive. Yeah. And make this a state where we promote working here, not promoting outside of the state.
Right.
So I think all of those programs are great programs to look at, and definitely the state of Louisiana needs a change in education.
But you would say that if you're not teaching the basics and doing the basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic, you're not really accomplishing much, are you?
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
That's the kind of dramatic change Louisiana needs. We have a couple of things that I kind of call it the quick round, and we'll go ahead and get into a little bit of that. And you give me quick answers to questions that people ask. One is like you say you're a Republican. What's your position like on the Second Amendment?
I'm for it, Roy.
I mean, that's pretty much says it all right there. You're for it, you know. What about immigration, illegal immigration, and that sort of thing?
I'm for building the wall. I'm for keeping them out. This is the United States of America, and as long as you legally come here, then I think you should go through the process.
I got you. So now, John, if I've taken my cue properly, we can now go to a break, and we'll be back in a moment. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Let's go. Come on, Kevin.
Okay, we're back. We got about 3 left in the program, and
do we? We have about 3.
Yeah, Roy.
Yes,
just to kind of bring things back around. I don't know if I'm alone in this. I think not, but
I'm on a mission from
my
God.
deepest concern with what's going on with the Justice Department,
yes,
and with Donald Trump, is that if they'll do this to him, a former president of the United States, who's safe? Who's safe when the Justice Department or the IRS or whoever decides that they're coming after you? I mean,
the question is, and this is the question you raised, is the process due? Is the procedure correct? Is the probable cause sufficient? Are all of these things in place in a way that protects a person's rights? And in this situation, frankly, it reeks of not meeting all those requirements.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's bothering people. And then this notion that we talked about, well, I talked about a while ago, and that is the notion that, well, let's don't disclose. Let's don't disclose what happened with the Carter-Page affidavits, what happened with the FISA courts. Now we're seeing the same kind of pattern repeat itself with a search warrant and its attached affidavit. They do not want to release this stuff, and they always use the same excuse. Oh, the witnesses. We got other witnesses. They didn't have any other witnesses in Russiagate. The only witnesses they had in Russiagate anyway were the stuff they made up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I think as citizens, we have the right to know that in this situation because it is a former president. But what if it was just you? Just you. And you could not get a hold of what the underlying documents and stuff that they used to get probable cause to search you and your body and your house and your personal effects. What protection do we have against any of that? And that's what's worrying people.
It sets a very dangerous precedent.
It's very, very dangerous, and it ought to be worrisome because I'll tell you something. The Supreme Court years ago gutted the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution, which is against these illegal search and seizures and proper search warrants and all of the due process stuff. They gutted it, and now we're paying the price for it. I got to tell you, every time there's an emergency, the government takes power. But when the government takes power, it can be used against you.
This much is true.
And they're not giving it back.
That's going to wrap up our program for this week. Roy, once again, always a pleasure, my friend.
Always my pleasure.
And we will talk to you again next week from right here at Old School Barbecue in Baton Rouge. Take care.
Come back and see us. You hear?
You've been listening to Fletch Nation with Roy Fletcher and Kevin Gallagher. Remember, if you heard something that ticked you off, upset your sensibilities, or threatened your precious safe space,
the opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are purely their own and do not reflect those of this radio station or its advertisers.
So if you're calling a lawyer, or planning a boycott, or a cancel campaign, forget about it and join us next week for more Fletch Nation.